No mai, haere mai ki Aotearoa Rugby Pod. Welcome to the Aotearoa Rugby Pod, brought to you by Ashley and Martin Medical Hair Centres. The All Blacks Rugby Championship squad arrived on Monday, and so much to break down there. Chiefs hardman Simon Parker is in after injury took him out of contention against France, but there are injuries galore, so heaps of players have been named, including Kyle Preston and Leroy Carter. We'll look at how they fit in, as well as Rico being named as an outside back. The move back is now seemingly set in stone after the French series. The Wallabies' third test win against the Lions could also be a talking point for their hard-nosed approach. We'll also answer all your questions about referee conspiracy theories and ruck play. The Women's Rugby World Cup is approaching fast. We'll have the legend Kelly Brazier on to talk about her return to a World Cup squad at the age of 35. We have another Rugby Ready giveaway for a month of free training with All Blacks guru Dr. Nick Gill's training team. We also have heaps of your emails and comments, as well as the in-depth analysis you've come to expect from James Parsons and Bryn Hall. Jipper, All Blacks squad in hand.
How good.
Are you ready?
Oh, born ready, Ross.
Yeah. When you looked at the squad, what did you think?
I don't think there was too many surprises. I think obviously there was a lot of chat yesterday once everyone learned Cam Roigard was out of who that sort of third halfback was going to be. And I think acknowledging like Kyle Preston was probably the logical choice because I think his kicking game's a point of difference. His ability to box kick off both feet. And I commentated the game he played for Wellington. It's unbelievable. Like he senses pressure here and he just switches. Boof. Like it's quite a skill set, and if he gets an opportunity to play and he's accurate at it, you know, like he definitely has a massive future ahead. And then in terms of support lines and crispness of pass, you do feel for Xavier Rowe. You know, like I think he was really challenging Cortez. It was a little bit of a 1-2 punch. Sometimes start, sometimes on the bench. You felt maybe it was his time to get a crack, but I think Preston's, put the runs on the board that you'd know Scott Hansen well enough and what he's looking for. I think Kyle Preston ticks a lot of boxes.
You can't underestimate someone that can kick off both feet. We talk about the pont, him being able to do that. It's just a skill set that nobody else has in New Zealand. If you're a right foot kicker, your pressure from your locks, they can move in and around that ruck and being able to go pressure the right foot. If he's not comfortable around it, I'll just go to the left-hand side and just being able to clear off the left side with no pressure. Now, the more time that people will spend and see on him, they'll get probably maybe blockers both sides, but
that
it takes
creates
so much
opportunity
pressure.
Though. So defensively, like you do all that work, you know what foot they kick off normally, and you've got this person who's attacking the foot, this person can just sort of get that chase line. Mate, if they're both having to do that, there's an opportunity in that.
Yeah.
Because there's something missed. Either on the counter-attack, there's an opportunity because they're fixated on blocking, or there's an opportunity to fake a box kick, short ball through there. That's the exciting thing because, yes, people can mark it. Yes, people understand he can kick off both feet. But when you're doing that job and you're requiring two people to do it, there's space somewhere. There's a gap, there's a chink in the armour. That's what excites me because finding out where that chink is, and Scott Hansen's probably the guy to find it, is exactly what will change the game. It's the Ben Franks effect. Like, play both sides of the scrum. You make it. You can become the perfect fifth prop. You don't need six, which creates space. So it's like you'll start seeing nines starting to kick off both feet. Because it creates a chink in the armour, an opportunity that your side now wants as a trend in the game. Yeah. That's what excites me.
Massive in terms of like exits as well, being able to exit off both sides. Because sometimes on the right-hand side, but mostly now, nines are very good at being able to kick across their body, but it's a little bit harder going probably on the left-hand side if you're a right-foot kicker because you've got to go across your body. But look, Preston can set up the blockers both sides and can get that kick pretty easily in terms of like not just having protection, but the length that he can probably get on it as well.
So, I mean, the Aussies have obviously come up against him, so they might have an idea that this is going to happen. But do you think that the Boks and the RGs will know that is what's around if they come up against him?
Well, I definitely know now he's been selected, there'll be work going on.
Yeah.
They'll be ready. Like, let's be honest, it's international footy.
So each individual could be analysed to that degree. This is an injury cover guy.
Absolutely.
Could be looked at.
Absolutely.
When I was at the Crusaders, we'd used to I think it was like Liam McDonald, I think Brad Moore at the time, I can't remember who it was, but we'd have to go and individual clips of the nines that we were playing, because sometimes we wouldn't know who they were, but you'd go to what foot are they kicking with? Are they a runner? Are they a passer? Are they deep in the line? Are they flat in the line? So you actually do, that's just the players. You can only imagine like what the coaches are doing in and around what they're going to see with Kyle Preston, or even a Simon Parker who's been selected. So no, there definitely is a lot of analysis around whoever is in your position for the example that I'm just using.
Also, like the great coaches will get Bryn, this is your job to look at all the nines where they kick, and then Bryn will present to the forwards, okay, these are your opportunities for charge downs. This is where you can pressure. This is what you can say to them because this is what distracts them. So it's, sort of player to player learning, player to player coaching, it's such a strong way of getting through the week, but also it's strong for individual development.
It sounds like a lot of work. But it's a jam-packed week.
It's your full-time job.
It's your job. It's your job. And sometimes when you're actually overseas, it's probably the best time to do it because, so when you are at home, you've got to be able to get home. There's family. People obviously at different stages in their lives. But when you're on tour, the amount of chats you could have at a coffee chat or for supper. So the actual amount of stuff that you can actually talk about. It's actually not a lot of work.
I hate to. It's not when you've been in it, because sometimes I've said that and then people have called me up, okay, well, talk me through it, and they're like, exactly like your reaction, holy dooly. But it's like, I think when you're in that rugby mindset, if you don't do it, someone's taking your job. If you don't work Monday to Sunday, that's fine, but you're not going to last. You're not going to be there long. So it just, I think the mindset of it is, it doesn't feel like work because it's your passion. It's just everything. And if obviously there's got to be some balance, and I'm probably the wrong example. But,
I think we're both, mate.
You have to be fully invested to get the absolute every ounce of percentage of performance out of yourself.
And the good teams collectively are doing that. Do you know what I mean? The teams that have had success and you're having that conversation, a coffee chat, and you think about how many coffees you can have during a week, that adds up throughout the year, through the years as well, and you become confident. So the decisiveness and the preparation that you have through how many times you want to do that a week or years, months, weeks, whatever it may be, you then get a consistent team because you've had those you've had those chats, and you're more like a rugby brain. But I think that's the way, if you want to be successful, you've got to prepare well, and hopefully you can bring people with you and they can see what you're doing and say, okay, when that kind of just happens to everybody and that ends up becoming the norm in the team.
So if you look at the injuries there with Roigard and Hotham out, and you look at who would start and who would come off the bench, what direction do you think they'll go with?
Look, I think Finlay Christie has been brought in as well, and you can't underestimate experience when it comes to test match footy. Brazier has really talked about that in the past around you can't buy experience, and I think you do give Finlay Christie the opportunity to do that. I think if Cortez at Atima did go down, let's say hypothetically in that that 2 test match series over in Argentina, you'd want someone with a bit of experience and understanding what it takes to test match footy, because let's not forget, like Kyle Preston, of course I think he is deserving of being here with his performance for Wellington last year, the Crusaders this year, and the first part of this NPC, but very limited in terms of experience, and it is a big jump. So I think having Finlay Christie as that security blanket, I think you'd have to think he might help out Cortez at Atima, who would start Finlay coming off the bench, and I don't know if they feel more comfortable getting Kyle Preston into that environment and he's there and that they're liking what they see, then maybe give him an opportunity in that second test match. But I think it would be Finlay Christie and Cortez at Atima to start.
Someone goes down early, he can play 80.
Correct.
If he's not starting. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the reality from a coach's point of view.
You don't want to give Kyle Preston a chance. You don't. Like, that guy looks to me like a guy.
History, albeit very short, says no, you don't. If you're in his position. Because he's fairly handy.
There's something about that guy. I think you don't give him a chance.
Made every post a winner.
Well,
he's got a great mindset. Like, I only caught up with him briefly when I was down in Christchurch, but he's gone a very unconventional route. Nothing came easy to him, and so everything that I guess embodies with the way he is, it's working hard and being able to take your opportunity when it does come. Because I think he was actually a Moni Narawa. We talked about it a couple of years ago. It was a perfect example of that. So it's amazing when some things happen to you at different times in life, and I think he'll be ready because he's shown that at the Crusaders when he's given an opportunity.
I think it's shown through his kicking game as well. Like, you're not born with the ability to kick off both feet. He has put hours and hours and hours away from the bright lights and the cameras in a park on his own to do that skill set, and now it's paying dividends. And that's why his trajectories move so quick, because the hard work's in. The foundation is set.
Now, we've got a 36-man squad. No Perifeta, Almore or Tungafasi because of injuries that have taken them out of the Rugby Championship. But there are a lot of injuries around the place. One thing that hasn't appeared to have affected a selection with injury is the fact that Simon Parker is now in the All Blacks squad. I'm imagining that suggests before his previous injury, he would have featured earlier in the year even. We saw Dalton Papali'i play, etc. We might have seen Parker. What do you think Parker brings to this loose forward mix, Chipper, in comparison to the rest?
And even, Christian Leo Willie obviously played a lot of minutes, and you just have to think that he was obviously in there. What does he give? He's a genuine 6'8". He keeps it simple, but I suppose the biggest thing that we always talk about, he wins collisions. So when he hits and tackles, he's putting guys on their back and not allowing them to have, it's either that neutral gain line or negative gain line. And then when he carries, he carries with the ability that he attracts enough attention and has that skill set to give when there's holes, and then also if it's just a wall, he can have that sort of hard nose Ethan Blackadder style and win the collision. The key is he's someone like, I think all loose forwards across New Zealand can, if there's a wall, can go, right, I'm going to have a crack. They're not afraid of it. But I think more often than not, it's not so much about wanting to do it. He wins that collision. And so he gets over the gain line from a standstill. And I think the ability to generate quick ball off slow ball is probably a point of difference that he showed in the Chiefs.
And I think that's important with what's ahead. I think we're going to play the Argentinians, who traditionally are very, very physical, especially in that loose forward trio, with what we've seen when we've lost test matches. It's because we haven't won that physicality breakdown. And look, I know Wallace Atiti is there. Tupavai's played really, really well. You've got Simipeni Finau, but I think Simon Parker, there must be a skill set. I think that Gips has touched on is going to be really important, because not only against the Argentinians, but even to the extent when we play the Australians, they did very, very well in that physicality breakdown in terms of the last 2 test matches. And we know what's come with the South Africans. So, and the reason why they've probably selected 7, I know Jacobson's injured, but they've got 6 loose forwards, 7 selected, and there was obviously 5 for that French series. So they probably are knowing that there could be a few, not injuries, but maybe some tough bodies that are going to be going through the first couple of test matches before that South African series.
Peter Lakai as well back in the squad after injury. Like, there's a lot of options and a lot of versatility.
Well, I was just going to say that, if you look at the people that have been selected, Simon Parker and Peter Lakai can play multiple positions.
It's going to be a hard 23.
And Razor has touched on it, especially in those kind of positions. The utility factor is going to be really important. So I guess for that group, it's going to be like when you do get given your opportunity, because there's a lot of guys that play different positions and are very, very similar. You're going to have to take your opportunity, because there's a lot more. There's 7 loose forwards when Jacobson's back. You've got Tupavai that can cover that now, which is technically 8. So there's a lot of variety.
I think that was the beauty of the July series. Everyone played well.
Yeah.
Every time someone played, you're like, well, you can't drop them. Christian Leo Willie was
he's
outstanding.
Not there now.
Yeah.
And I know I'm always the one that says it's not a development team. I get that, but that competition for spots it's so good for the form of the team. You look at Locke. If you're going 2 on the bench, you can't. How do you leave Paddy or Fabian out? You can't leave the captain out. There's no need to carry all 4 potentially.
Yeah. Like if they didn't play Tupavai at 6, who do you start at lock? Scott Barrett's going to be there because he's captain. You get a little bit of leniency when you are captain, but Fabian Holland. Geez, we're talking around the numbers, the metrics that you put up with him and Duplessis for
I think Paddy's
test
the
matches.
same.
Well, Paddy's in his best career form, Joe. He's kind of turned back the clock. So
the one thing I will say though is with Paddy is, man, I remember when Offa and Paddy were coming off the bench on the end of year tour, and they were just absolutely dismantling defences and attacks. That's the only thing you just know, Paddy, test match level, 30 minutes. He's delivering 80, he could start, but in terms of if you have to choose, he has got a proven record of absolutely doing a job off the bench. And we just talked about how the impact of the bench is going to be really important. Like we talked about the bomb squad, and I think Paddy, he's warranted to be able to start with the performance that he's put on, but I think if you're going to be able to, how can we get the best players playing at the right time? You have a Fabian Holland starting, or whoever, Scott Barrett and Tupavai, whoever it may be, and then you're bringing on a Tui Pelotu in the last 30 minutes to be able to get over the gain line collisions, being able to get the impact of what we might have backs-wise or whoever it may be, to be able to, come home strong, which I think is important. Because I think you look back in the past with All Black teams, when we were really good, the whole 23, we'd have a massive impact with Steve Hansen's era around being able to win games in the last 20 minutes, scoring multiple ways of being able to score points. So, I think having a guy like Paddy,
he warranted a start, but he could do the job off the bench as well.
You think about Whitelock against Ireland in the World Cup, having a guy coming off the bench with that experience and leadership capacity.
When the pressure's on.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just think, you talk about, it's the 36, in terms of that, when it was the 23, it's like you're talking about the people that don't even make the field, like how like there's genuine depth.
Yeah.
Speaking of, the coaches spoke about, they want 4 or 5 in each position. Well, I tell you what, they're moving at a quick rate. I tell you what, they're getting it.
Yeah.
Yep. And
which is outstanding.
And lastly, there's been injuries with Cam Roigard and Noel Hotham, but that's going to add more depth as well. Like if these two guys come out and get an opportunity, obviously Finley's been there, but if Kyle Preston comes out and performs well, then that's 4 or 5. It's like, well, okay, we're sorted in halfbacks. So even they're a little bit less experienced, but if you can play well with what we saw in the June Test series, a lot of guys being able to get opportunities, it's just going to continue to keep adding depth, and we can start talking about South Africa, mate.
Yeah.
We've got the depth of South Africans.
I think it's an exciting tour for Cortez though as well.
I agree.
On that, man, if he grabs it and dominates it, again, you're getting into the position, how do you pick your nines?
Yeah.
That's the exciting thing, through obviously unfortunate situation for Noah and Cam, it creates opportunity of excitement for others.
Okay, let's get into the Lions, shall we? Boy, I enjoyed the week of responses within the comments section on our Instagram post about all of the ruck, etc. But before we get into that, let's get into our Ashley and Martin turning point. Because, boy, did the Wallabies come out against the Lions and show that they can mix it up.
I'll tell you what, the interview with Nick White, I think he's the turning point, to be honest. He is just irritating. And he, off the field, great guy, but he just has a purpose about him to be irritating. And it almost like he starts it, initiates it, and then the big boys just, even Nick Frost was into it, and Skelton, you expect, I thought Tupou was the best he's been.
Yep.
But I think it all started with just that Nick White and he's just niggly. He said in the interview, he goes, I'm just going to be just annoying. We're going to take it to them. It's going to be endless. It's going to be unforgiving. And my God, it was.
Well, is it not just funny? Like he picks out the biggest guy, was it Sheehan, and she's just ragged on him. But it was to set the tone. I agree with Chip on.
He'd be no good in the 80s though. Someone would do something.
Pop one on him, but you can't do it. He knows that he's safe.
Yeah.
But I just think he set a tone. I think Will Skelton the week before set the tone of being able to have that niggle, and Nick White kind of was on steroids to a certain extent of where he took it. But I think as well, he played really well for the 60 minutes. I think, Tate McDermott, we would have thought he could have been starting, and Jake Gordon had a very good second test match. But, Nick White, I believe, was the difference. Will Skelton, again, continued to be the difference in that test match series. But we're talking about Ashley and Martin turning point. Nick White and how he played and what he brought for that team. It brought a real ruggedness. I even saw, Farrell was getting into Suoliti, everyone having a chat to him. So, there was just a bit of niggle. For the fact that they were playing for a dead rubber, if you think about it, the series is over, you lose a heartbreak like that. I was wondering, can they back that up to be able to put in a performance to win the test match? Jeez, they didn't just do that. They convincingly beat that British and Irish Lions. I mean, do we actually just sit here and say, did the British and Irish Lions get lucky?
No, I don't think.
Did they get lucky, Joe?
Oh, Struth. I don't know. Another week of comment.
Did they get lucky? Well, you think about it.
No.
Think about it. If that aren't did they get lucky?
I think it was a penalty, and we don't need to go down that track because apparently we're Australian. But I just think non-emotive. I still think it should be a penalty to Australia, just the way it is.
So you're saying that the Lions should have lost the series?
Well, it has very 2-17 feels about a draw, and I am a Kiwi, and I am still bitter about that. But I think the Lions should have freshened their squad up to go for a three-peat. It just, you saw the pictures of them out on the MCG. It was done.
Yeah.
They'd won it there, and it's just there were some key guys there that, probably pushed the boat out, which is fair enough, but I just think and I don't want to use it, but geez, it would have been good to see Pollock in that 23. But I just think their squad could have done with a little bit of a freshen up, man. That was 2 big tests, 2 physical tests. Aussie, I thought Schmidt rotated squad well and keep them guessing. I just think Andy Farrell probably made a few changes.
They played like it. They played like
they looked like they were
flat. And I think, the Australians with the selections of bringing in some fresh people, and I guess with Nick White coming with the example on how he played well, they just looked more energetic. They looked like they were in a little bit more rhythm. All the hard ball gets, all the niggle, all the 1%ers that we saw the British and Irish Lions doing that first two test match when they needed it, the Australians did that. So,
but I think it's dealing with that niggle as well. Like if you use Finn Russell as an example, when he caught and he had knocked it on, and he'd given Suoliti a spray and he was into it and he was yap, yap, yap. And then, he could feel that the Aussies actually composed themselves. They got into that, but then they got back to business. Like even when you look at them statistically, their stats were so boring, but that was the way they just knew they had to tighten. They had the skill set to go wide. And I felt like the British and Irish Lions, because they had won and really had nothing to lose, they probably got caught up in the chat and the niggle a little bit too much and weren't focused on the job. And those little errors came into their game that we hadn't seen in the previous two tests.
And I think finally, defensively, it was the best game for the Australians.
We can thank the rain for that.
Yeah, we can thank the rain. But it was, the rain was obviously an equaliser, but, the defensive pressure you had to think going away if they were able to try and do that when it was dry. But you look at the 93% tackle percentage. The biggest stat that I found was in the first half, six breakdown turnovers and 8 for the whole game, which has been able to get the ball back. So you talk around the 93% tackle percentage. You look at Jorgensen's try, being able to get it to 15-0, even though it was a little bit passive, but they were collectively together. They all went on the same page, and then Jorgensen scores that try to take a 15 out. So I just think defensively, and the rain was a big part of that, but it was the best defensive effort.
Just when you say that though, just to be clear, it doesn't bother me if you want to jockey to the sideline. Just all do it.
Yep. They did very good at that on the weekend.
And what they did on the weekend is they did it together.
Yep.
So if someone jams in, like we saw with Iki Tau in the first test, follow him in, Potter. Follow him in. And I don't care if you get beaten on the outside because you're all going together and that's obviously the system. But this was the first defensive effort where they were all on song, all on the same page. And I do think the weather played a part, especially in the breakdown turnovers, because when it's wet, especially like that, momentum slides you a little bit more, so there's disconnect between you and the cleaners, and you get more of an opportunity to get on that ball. And Fraser McWright's the best exponent of it, and he just had a second or two longer. And where they'd previously been able to move him, just in the wet, he was locked on and got that wide base and had that time on the ball that showed the picture. So how do they do that in the dry? Because it's not going to be that wet moving into the... But I think they've now seen that if they can put skill sets under pressure through line speed and slow down ball and or get turnovers, defence is pretty simple if you're all on the same page.
And I also think on the other side of the ball, they were just so much better than the British Irish Lions hold on to the ball. I think in the first half, there was a couple of the 27th and 33rd minute, like 17 and 15 phases to actually build pressure on the British Irish Lions. It's not like the British Lions played bad, but they just put them under pressure defensively with what Jip's talking about and the attacking side, being able to hold on to the ball. And what I loved, and you probably saw this as well, Jip, is they carried Tupou, been able to get the footwork, Skelton, been able to get footwork and carry with this brute force, the cleans, but then the interplay as well, going inside balls, tip balls, been able to go through and being able to score tries. You see Tate McDermott's try. So on the other side of the ball as well, it was a really good effort.
That's what I mean.
It was a really good effort from the Australians on the weekend.
I wasn't being disrespectful when I said the stats are boring, but that's what I mean. Like it was just very simple. Yeah. It was literally just carry clean, tip clean, tip clean. And if they tipped, you watched the urgency to go and clean. So because if you tip inside or you tip outside and you get caught up defensively, well, you've missed your clean. And in those conditions, it's so much easier to get breakdown turnovers. But they were just methodical in everything they did. And that's what I mean. Like I felt like their niggle was a strategy they didn't get emotionally involved in. Do you know what I mean? It was just part of the game, and then they can remove themselves, they go back to the next job. Whereas I felt the British and Irish Lions really got a motive, and it impacted their ability to play and make decisions.
And I think if you're talking around a complete performance, they kicked well at the right times as well. You know, Tom Wright being able to get some really good distance in terms of they were under pressure. Okay, we've got a 50 or 60 metre gain, so then they'll be able to attack. And then you talk around the line-out pressure. They had five turnovers, they were at 76% or something like that.
Clinic. It was the best test. He was into it. Skelton the week before took all the headlines, but he actually brought a physical presence. I thought Tom Hooper was another one.
Yep.
He was also very good around breakdown turnovers. He had a lot of punch. And Tupou, not only around the field, but if you watch, Porter's been putting his hips out and getting real pay of dominating. He tried to do that against Tupou, and Tupou just took the gap straight through.
All facets of the game, they were better than the British and Irish Lions. So, if you're taking confidence going into the Rugby Championship and the dress rehearsal that they're going to have to face going into the
how they do it in the dry though.
But that's their challenge.
I'm not resting on the weather, but Bryn,
I know,
that is a big. Yes, they still won that test, and had it been 1-1, I just don't think the Lions would have played that poorly.
Yeah, well, that's the challenge that they will have when they go to South Africa. Not only just the dry, but I think with what we've seen, even though it's been against Georgia and it's been against the Italians, where they are right now, physicality-wise and the attacking brand that they are playing, it's going to be tough, but I think they're ready, considering they've just played, I'd say arguably probably one of the top three teams in the world with collectively all those players in the British Irish Lions.
Okay, so that is the $1 million question, or the 50,000, 100,000 click question on YouTube.
250,000
click question on YouTube. Can the Wallabies go to South Africa and pick up a win?
A win?
A win.
I think they can.
Yeah.
I think they can. Now, their challenge is consistency. Are they able to do that in the high veld under probably different conditions? But from what I've seen, especially the first half in that second test match, the third test match where they won the set piece battle, they won the physicality battle, defensively they showed a lot better pitches in terms of being able to put skill sets under pressure, and they kicked really well. So those are obviously a lot of things they have to get right. And if they do get that right, then of course they're able to do it. Because that British and Irish Lions team, we thought they were very, very good. So the challenge is, are they going to be able to do it for 80 minutes? And are they going to be able to deal with this bomb squad, which we probably didn't see the same effect from the British Irish Lions that they're going to see from the South Africans?
Yeah, I think there's three key players, and their availability, I don't know with French clubs and stuff, but I think now Skelton, Valentini and Tupou, I think are critical in how you use them, how you select them, is just a little bit different against South Africa. And is it better potentially a Skelton and a Tupou getting 30 minutes off the bench if they can hold their own for 50? Yeah. I think Valentini can go 80. I know he's injured, but they'll need him to go. They don't have a lot of, I suppose, depth to play with, but I think those three players need to bring what we saw from them at their very best throughout the Lions for whatever minutes they play. I'm just not sure if they do Skelton, the three of them for 40, 50 minutes, whip them off, that the bomb squad isn't just going to take over. So they've got to come up with a plan in terms of how they beat South Africa, not tactically, just how they select the squad and how they best utilise their pieces on the chessboard as such.
You'd have to think also, a Pete Samu would come back into that selection criteria possibly, and building that depth around if it is a 6-2 split bench or anything like that. But
any power athlete like that is good.
Like you look at Lange Gleeson, I know he didn't get a lot of time, but he's someone that has played really well for the Waratahs. You're talking around being able to get over the advantage line.
Hooper proved he can do the job.
Yeah, so I just think they're going to have to be thinking around, because I agree with the depth. It's probably not to an extent of what the South Africans are, and probably to the New Zealanders as well, to the All Blacks. So yeah, having that conversation. But I think Skelton, I think they have to have Skelton starting, because I just think with what you pretty much with him, you go as long as you can till it blows and he's got nothing left, and then you bring someone else on, because I think if they don't play in with what we saw in the first test match, that test match is already gone. And so I think they need to be able to go out there. And I think the reason why is because the South Africans have had, I've talked about it, I want to say it again, they haven't had the best dress rehearsal in terms of the competitiveness of what they played against the Georgians and the Italians. So get Skelton out there, almost put a punch on their nose and see how they can react from it.
Yeah, I suppose they do have the experience though, don't they?
They do, but you never know when you just never know the dress rehearsal. Yeah. You've got to be able to take into consideration that this Wallabies team, they haven't had a lot of injuries, but they're battle tested. And if there's ever a time for to go over to South Africa with the confidence of winning that third test match, and probably arguably, I think the series, if they get that Tizano call, they should feel pretty confident with the body of work that they've had the last 3 test matches.
If they let South Africa play, they've got no chance. Like, defensively, they've got to bring lines. They've got to commit to something defensively. If they, like, genuinely, they need to bring line speed pressure together.
If they don't bring line speed pressure, they're going to have to win the first contact around the hard defence and being able to stop their forward pack, because then at least they can be set, and hopefully they might be able to go line speed a couple of times, not if it's not part of their system, but I think if they can get similar numbers around the breakdown turnover with what we saw 8 on the weekend and the physicality of the 2 dominant tackles making a tackle, then that's probably their best chance if they feel like they're not going to be able to bring line speed. But they're going to have to, because
I think
we saw the way that they attack the South Africans. It's going to be tough.
Even contestable kicking and stuff, like they're going to have to challenge the 9 and the 10 or whoever's kicking, because without the ability to create that pocket anymore, South Africans are just dominating the air.
Yeah.
Like, mind you, Jorgensen, I'm not confident. I don't know if they can.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
Do you think they can push them?
I'm trying to think of ways. Yeah. I'm trying to offer optimistic ways.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
The more I talk about it,
you don't think if they play like they did on the weekend and were able to do those things for that 3rd test match, they don't have a chance against South Africa?
I think the Lions didn't play that well on the weekend.
But I thought they dictated terms to be able to make them play poorly.
No, I don't see it. I'm trying. I'm trying to see it, but I just can't see it. I can't see South Africa losing in South Africa.
Yeah. We look forward to a Lions tour coming to New Zealand in a few years.
Come on.
Now, along with that will be conspiracy theories, because if you look at our comments section, and there were a lot of conspiracy theories about the Lions and the Northern Hemisphere coming together and making sure that the right calls go
I thought we did a good job.
Yeah.
I thought we were pretty fair, I thought.
It's like anything. Like, there's certain teams like where you support, you just can't hear logic.
Yeah.
You know, you're just too passionate. It's like Broncos lose on the weekend, I can't hear logic, you know, like, and I don't understand rugby league that well, so I just see it in my little bubble, and you just don't actually hear anything.
Yeah.
You just disagree with anyone that says anything.
We like to back ourselves. We like to back ourselves to be quite fair, and I thought we did that quite well. But the comment section, my whole Instagram for like 7 days, I just was getting comments left, right, and centre. But we love it though. Keep it going though. Keep sending it through. We don't mind seeing it.
Yeah,
sending it through.
Number of conspiracy theories about the referees and how the Lions get the rub of the green. This is one here from Salome Dendal. Just a thought: ABs versus Lions 2017, Lions versus SA 2021, including Russie's rant, Lions versus Australia 2025. There's one similarity. When there was a contentious decision, it went the Lions' way. Now, of course, we like to be objective about these things, so we've crunched the stats on how the referees treat the Lions in comparison to the other teams. And it's quite interesting, because in every series, the Lions copped more penalties than the opposition. In every series. 2017, 29-24, Lions copped 5 more penalties than New Zealand. 2021, Lions 38-36, 2 more than South Africa. 2025, 31-26, Lions 5 more than Australia. So they're not exactly getting, away with everything, Jibber.
I think there's like an element as well with referees. This is a massive tour. This is all eyes on rugby. And a little bit like the state of origin, is there is a little bit of onus not to make it about the referee. So the old whistle just maybe gets parked in the pocket a bit. I think there's a lot that gets let to go for both sides. Like even some of Fraser McWright's turnovers on the weekend. Like if we were to look at it, he is resting on the grass a hell of a lot before he gets onto the ball, which is pretty much the only way you can in those sort of conditions, which is fine. Like I just think the refs do their best in terms of going, hey, this is the shot front. We need this to not be a penalty fest. We need this to be footy, and we need the footy to be decided by the players. That's just my take on it. Because you think for 3 tests, that's still pretty low penalty counts.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. But then again, if you look at the statistics and going along with the conspiracy theory, 2017, you got the Jerome Garces call on Kieran Reid from the kickoff, that, the reverse decision that led to the draw in the final test and New Zealand not having the opportunity to win that test match. 2021, This was the good one. Brazier Erasmus having a crack at Nick Berry after copping an 8-14 penalty count. The Boks felt like they were hard done by on advantage, breakdown, treatment of the captain, and then, lo and behold, the next 2 test matches, and the Lions got more penalties.
That's why Rusty's awesome. That's why he's a mate.
I'm not sure the way he went about it was quite politically correct, but it was effective.
Got a reaction from it.
Yeah.
I think when you look at moments in isolation, you can find anything.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And the passion within the comment section from either side. We're accused of being Australian multiple times, and I can guarantee you that is not the case.
Moaning Aussies, whinging Aussies, all this. I was like, geez, we're not even... I wasn't going to correct them, though.
Yeah. But I think it's fair to say that the conspiracy is probably not right based on the stats.
Well, we don't work on conspiracy. We're facts. People say that everywhere. We're a facts, and we're a facts-based podcast.
We are.
And we tried our best to be able to be 50-50.
We did.
We tried our best.
We did it. As I say, I just don't want to hear it.
The other thing that we got through from the last week has been people reacting, I suppose, to the conversation we had last week about all the rules that apply at a call at the breakdown, like the one involving Tizano and Morgan. We had one from Macho, one from Fossil-matic, basically saying, can we simplify the ruck? Can we cut out all of the nonsense and go back to rules like just no croc rolls, no arm clear-outs, no high shots, coming from an onside position, and tackler needs to release, and everything else can go by the by, not the 25 current laws that can be on the breakdown.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, Ross, but when I saw that question, in 2016, we were at North Harbour.
I was still playing.
Yeah, we were still playing. I mean, you might have been injured that year.
I think I made the All Blacks that year.
Sorry, early part of it. Sorry, mate, sorry. But we actually took away the jackal.
Yeah.
2016, the rules were you could not go for a jackal. All you could do was, what we ended up doing was counter-rucking. But that's obviously taken out all
and then
all
people
of
were kicking it, and it was a mess.
It was a mess. But so
it was a mess.
It just comes part and parcel with the breakdown. It's
simple.
What it is.
The breakdown's simple. Okay, win the race. You get there first. You dictate terms.
Yeah.
Like you can have a million laws, but as a player, win the race.
Yeah.
You will 9 times out of 10 win the breakdown unless someone cleans you out effectively.
Yeah. So then you're saying just accept if you don't win the race, because there's so many rucks.
Just don't overthink it.
Then what do you do then?
Win the race.
But if you don't win the race,
well,
like Morgan.
Then you've got to make decisions, right? Okay, do I back my defensive system? Do I need to hit that ruck? No. Boom. If you've lost the race and you're the attacking team, well, you're probably going to have to give it a good go, but you've got to weigh things up.
Yep.
Okay? And if you're going to hit down and lose weight, or are you going to use the body, not a croc roll, it's a body roll, pull them towards you is the other. But you've got to be able to make those decisions quickly, but you've got to forward think, okay, if I'm going to lose the race, what am I best at?
Yeah.
And how do I best do it to not give away a penalty within the rules? Because in the moment, it's instinct. It's nothing else. It's probably your most rehearsed action is coming out. So if it's violent, it's coming out. If it's a little bit apathetic, you're probably going to fold around the corner and go, oh, I'm going to leave it. Whatever it is, the rules and the understanding of the rules is done during the week. And then you repetition. But it all comes down to understanding what you do when you win the race, when you lose the race. But 9 times out of 10, you win the race, you win the ruck.
So if you're both on your feet, first person gets all the rights and the other person gets penalised if they do something wrong. If
you're the attacking one, you win the race, the ball's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you've won the race as a jackler, you've just got to lift the ball.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if you get cleaned out now.
Yeah.
Because you've lifted the ball and you'll get the penalty. And if you've put your hands on the grass, you're going to get penalised. So you can win the race, you've still got to be accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just don't think the ruck's that complex. Win the race.
Win the race.
You lose the race, understand what you're best at.
Yeah.
Do it.
And fans can come to understand that if you won the race, you'll get the penalty.
100%.
So be it, the rest doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's just
as long as you're on your feet.
I just think as players, you've got to declutter. That's how players think. I know you don't hit too many rucks.
I was just about to say, foreigner mindset.
But that's the simple nature of it. You've just got to win the race.
Where's World Rugby? There you go, Ross.
Yeah.
There you go, mate.
Go chat to World Rugby.
We don't need to chat to World Rugby. You can add 10 other laws. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's actually what happens first. Win the race.
Win the race.
Win the race.
Win the race, Ross. Win the race. Dude, I love that. That was good passion, eh?
That's a lot.
Because
that's why he's my captain.
See, the narrative, we've got to help rugby control the narrative a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, it is complex. Yes, it is sometimes confusing to understand, but it's simple in theory. Yes, you've got to know the laws. Yes, you've got to know which one comes first before the other. All that. But again, that's just done Monday to Friday. In the game, you've got to know strengths and weaknesses of the individuals you're playing and yourself. Then make decisions based on that. Sorry.
Don't apologise. Don't you dare apologise. Don't you dare apologise for that, James.
If you, a family member or a friend, needs to get into rugby shape, we have the giveaway that will supercharge them for this season. Along with All Blacks trainer Dr. Nick Gill's Rugby Ready team, we're trying to get the rugby community, whether you're a player or fan, fit and strong. Each week, one winner will receive 4 weeks of free access to the Rugby Ready Before membership with full access to all of Dr. Nick Gill's pre-season, in-season, off-season and specialty programs to help take your game to the next level. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Rugby Ready giveaway, Adam Cumming. You've scored 4 weeks of free access to the Rugby Ready Before membership. Adam is looking to really drill down on that extra 5% to make a real difference in executing under fatigue. That's some high performance chat right there and we like it. Thanks again to everyone who entered. We loved reading your stories, and if you didn't win this round, don't worry, you're still in the running, so keep those amazing submissions coming and it could be your name we announce next week. If you want in, it's simple, just DM Rugby Ready on Instagram with the code ARP. Tell them why you'd love to win. Well, it's awesome to welcome to the show Kelly Brazier. Her CV is something else. Was it 2-time Rugby World Cup winner, Olympic gold medals, Commonwealth Games gold, never forget that moment. So many things that she's done. She's played the first test game of footy in 2009. Kelly, you've been all over the world, you've done everything, and now you are back in this team at 35 years of age after, 4 years not playing for the Black Ferns apart from the Wallabies test a little while ago. What was it like to get that call from Bunce? What did he say to you as he gave you the call?
Unreal, and it was like the first time all over again. I think the disappointment of missing out on that Rugby World Cup in New Zealand, and then just the time 4 years out of the game in terms of 15. So when I got that call, I was honestly just filled with joy. Couldn't wait to tell the family, my mum and dad down in Dunedin that sort of supported me my whole career. So it was a pretty special feeling, and I think still probably hasn't actually sunk in, probably until we're on that plane. So honestly, just over the moon and felt like a little kid all over again.
It's like a fine wine. Thank you for giving me inspiration to continue to keep playing until I'm 35, hopefully. But look, I'd just love to know, you've been out of the game for a little while in terms of with the Black Ferns. Obviously, Alan must have told you in the reasons like why you were selected. Was there a particular skill set that you do? Was it the experience? What were the kind of chats you had with them of why you were selected?
Yeah, I think the initial call wasn't too much, but since then in a couple of the chats, it's just sort of been the experience. Obviously, been at a few pinnacle events, always going to be tough going to England and sort of playing in those circumstances. And then I think just some of the sort of gameplay knowledge, sort of now that I understand the game plan a bit more, that have been in environment a bit more, and then just some of that sort of tactical kicking in terms of in-game play. So those were sort of the things that I was told, yeah. As
a teachable moment to all the young players out there, how do you keep your focus and your belief in yourself and that preparation? Because even this one's come at the 11th hour, but your focus, your edge to be ready when that opportunity came is pretty impressive.
Yeah, watching some of my best mates playing that World Cup and knowing that's exactly where I wanted to be. Yeah, there was a lot of, days at home spent by myself and just head down and one foot in front of the other. And then, like I said, that call, I got to play with Chiefs Manawa for the season, which was pretty cool. And then sort of get that first call to go to Black Ferns camp and sort of just, head down and work my way sort of through. And like you say, probably came at the last minute, but like to say, it was good timing.
Because I'm imagining over the last 4 or so years, there's been a huge evolution in gameplay, whether it's pods or whatever it might be. What's been the biggest thing that you've had to pick up on?
Yeah, honestly, I think the first camp, myself and Portia, my good friend, attended. We were roomies, and after like the first day, just the info and the amount of new play that was in the environment, we were like, oh my God, like what have we got ourselves into? So I think we sort of started second guessing ourselves that first day, and we're up to all hours of the night. Like I think we're up to midnight just testing each other and trying to learn the plays. And myself being at 10, you kind of got to know everything. So that first camp was definitely an eye-opener, but I'd like to say I've obviously got a few under the belt now and feel sort of comfortable in my role and in terms of the team plays and calls. But yeah, it was at first it was definitely tough.
How long does it actually take for you girls to be able to, I guess, go from that sevens camp, and you've got a few ladies that have been in that sevens team to then go into the 15s? How long do you feel it takes you to try and get used to it, and I guess when to be 15s ready coming from sevens?
Yeah, I think this is probably the longest, and I think it probably just goes to show how much the women's 15 space has moved, which is exciting. I think in the past years, a lot of us have kind of been able to just bounce in between and kind of slot in, but yeah, this time was definitely more difficult, and even myself, having played that Chiefs Manawa, so I had played a bit of 15s, but again, going into that environment and just was a whole another level gone up. So yeah, I'd say it's probably taken a good 3 months for myself, sort of in and out of those camps, and probably sort of just found my feet in, like the last month or so.
Previously in Black Ferns history, you've won it through attack, and I suppose showing that innovation. Tony Christie now on board in and around that attack. How do we see you playing and going all the way at this Rugby World Cup?
TC, he's honestly been amazing. He's just like a guru, and he likes to, I think he sleeps and dreams about rugby every night. So he's definitely put a lot into our game plan, a lot of thought, and I think we would probably like to say there'll be a brand of footy that hopefully people haven't seen the Black Ferns play before. Obviously, it's always been quite an attacking style and probably not relied on too much else, but we know it's going to take sort of the full game to be able to go over there and bring the cup back home. So, we've sort of been working hard on our kicking game, going around teams, but also then being able to go through teams. And we have some amazing, powerful athletes and probably a mix of youth and experience. So I think if we can collectively come together, hopefully that cup will be coming back to New Zealand.
Just on that kicking game, because obviously England, France, they utilise it a lot themselves in their attacking strategy. What conversations have happened just around that sort of backfield coverage and the pendulum and making sure that what they perceive as a strength, you can turn into a weakness? And
we like to probably pride ourselves on that turnover attack. So we know if we can sort of kick the teams and get them to kick back, that's probably where some of our girls' superpowers are. So I guess just got to be tactical in ways that we do it in the right parts of the field, and then hopefully create some pressure and sort of attack from the right places and bring out some of those girls' skill sets.
Oh, the other player that everyone's talking about is Georgia Miller. Obviously her sevens form you've seen, her 15s form you've now seen. What don't we see about Georgia Miller that's got her to this point?
Honestly, the girl's a freak. Like, I don't know how she does it, but we're lucky enough to train beside her every single day, and there's honestly times like she's got 30 centimetres of space and you're, oh sweet, she's going to get tackled out, and then you look up and she's just like honestly running like sideways and gets around people. But her work ethic is second to none. Like, she's just hungry to always be better, even when people are complimenting her and telling her strength. She's the first back in there trying to work on it, get better. She's just like this new generational talent. Like, she wants to change the game, change, I guess, stereotypes in terms of position and how it's played. And I think we're sort of already starting to see that. So, yeah, I'm excited to see her on that world stage, and I know she's ready for the big moment.
So do you reckon she's a flanker? Do you reckon she's a back? What do you reckon she should be in the end?
First hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, she could play anywhere and she would run through people. So I'm going to say like anywhere from 4 to 15 she could play in this team, but whether that happens, but I guess it's nice to have up the sleeve if obviously anything did happen. But yeah, the girl's a freak.
She is amazing. Now, you both travelled the world with great success, and this World Cup's probably a little bit different from the last in that you're going to have to battle those challenges of being in hotel rooms and moving. What have you learned from your experience on the road about the challenges that you must overcome in order to create great success at pinnacle events when you're not at home?
Yeah, it's probably been a while for myself since I've been away from that period of time, and in the sevens we're kind of normally 2 to 3 blocks away from home, so that's something we've definitely spoken about as a group, and know it will be tough, but I think that's probably some of the stuff we've worked on as a team, sticking together, I'm lucky enough to have one of my best friends in the team. So I think it's just getting the balance right, making sure on days off, you're switching off from rugby, stepping away and doing things that kind of fill your cup, so that come Monday you're sort of ready to go again once you cross that line. Because 7 weeks is a long time away, and to be in and out of hotel rooms, and obviously you always got a roomie, and it can be tough being with people. So I think just making sure you sort of get in what you need to, getting space, time away, and just getting that balance right.
You're a clean roomie? Tidy?
Definitely.
Who's not the tidiest? That's probably the better question to ask you. Who's not the tidiest?
I can assure you Bryn Hall was not tidy.
Probably my mate Portia Woodman, to be honest.
Oh, really? Portia?
Nah, she's not too bad, to be honest. I think we just like to give each other a bit of buff, and I'm lucky enough where I got to room with her a lot, so it's kind of like we're just at home, and I guess that's important when you're away on the road. So, been pretty cool.
All the best for the trip and for these first few games heading through pool play. It's awesome to see you back in the team.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So the Black Ferns are very hopeful. They've got a big title shot come the World Cup. We saw the first weekend of the NPC though. And who has a title shot after seeing what happened on the weekend? Jipper, you love your NPC. Who do you think, after watching those results, is in the running after week one?
So all these teams scored points, but I want to focus on the amount they stopped. So Canterbury, Wellington had that many 22-metre entries and couldn't score, couldn't break down. Defensively, they were world class. Yes, they scored points off the back of the defence as well, but in terms of stopping points, massive. Bay of Plenty was the same. Tasman had multiple opportunities, and up to the 60-minute mark, I think it was 10-7, and then their patience and opportunities presented itself, boom, they took it. And people look at the scoreboard, always focus, but defensively, these teams, and defence wins champions, they've definitely put big inroads. And I think a little smoky, Hawke's Bay is there or thereabouts, but maybe need to come up against...
Let's not talk about Hawke's Bay.
Firmer options. But the other smoky I have is Manawa too.
Yeah, they were good.
Defensively, they were really rock solid. And I love the way after the match, all the players that were interviewed was we just want to connect with our community. We want to do it, we were united to bring our community, we want to unite our community. I was man, you can just see their defences based off that. They're playing for something bigger than themselves. And I'm enjoying what I'm seeing from the Turbos. Where they'll struggle is injuries.
Yeah.
They don't have the depth of the other two teams I mentioned, but if they can stay injury free, mate, there'll be a lot of green buckets being sold in Palmy North. I'll tell you that for free.
I think just touch on those guys. I just want to touch on that Waikato game to start the year. I think talking around some pretty experienced 10s in their Waikato team with Aaron Cruden and Lima Sipawonga coming back. And look, what a great story for Lima to come back. Well, I don't know, I think I saw an Instagram story of how long he'd been away, and to be able to come on and play for Waikato, get called in really late, and to be able to do, the old ice in his veins, and being able to, score the try to win the game. But that comes back to the character of Lima. But it was great to see, because watching that game against Auckland, Auckland were able to, with a young squad, did pretty well. They probably should have won that game, but Waikato fought back, and there was just a big moment from Lima, and they won the game.
32-12.
Yeah, I thought the game was over.
I thought it was over. All said and done. But they are a young team, that Auckland squad, and they'll learn from that. And I think they've still got a lot to offer. They showed that 60 minutes was very, very strong for them, and they'll learn from that.
Yeah, it shows the importance of that kind of experience in the NPC. I mean, that kind of experience is important in Super Rugby, but in the NPC...
But I think it's also important to our pathway system, because what 100%. They can share, the knowledge they can share, the way they operate during the week. Having that sort of intel or IP around young players just grows their understanding of what to look for, and I suppose as individuals, but as a team. It's great.
It's almost fair that Waikato will get both of them, right? It's going to be great for Lima to be somewhere else.
It means that Brent can come get his 100.
I'd love
38 and he's finally retired from
Japan. I'm just washed up and limping on, 5 minutes to go.
We're not far away, eh? We're not far away. There'll be a testimonial game, the whole lot.
No, well, it's just Wally's in Japan on his 10-year deal. We have to wait to the end of that because insurance is too expensive.
Okay.
Still available though if you have an injury. I can go back to Japan a little bit later, so I'd love to be able to get the one cap, but we'll see.
So plenty of NPC to come your way this weekend on Sky Sport. Thank you very much for tuning into the Aotearoa Rugby Pod once again. Please send us your emails to aotearoarugbypod@sky.co.nz or get into the comments section. We'll have a read and get into what you have to say as well. Thank you to Ashley and Martin Medical Hair Centres for supporting the show. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes who helps us put it together, and thank you to all of you who watch for keeping on coming back. Catch you next week. Mā te wā.